Hi everyone, my name is Kaylila, and if you don't know me, I do run a bookstagram over on Instagram. So I am Starstruck.reader, and I wanted to come on here and kind of create this video to kind of go over mid-year book tag, because I figure I've already posted about it on bookstagram and gone through my picks for the questions. However, I wanted to kind of give a longer explanation here in video form as well. I first saw this tag through Larissa, which is her, I think her name is just Larry on YouTube, but she's Larry Reads in TikTok, and that's where I first saw the tag. And then she got it from another creator. Her name is Sarah, so I'll have both of their links to their videos down below for this year. But this is my mid-year book tag. Okay, so the first question in the book tag is your favorite book you read so far in 2024, and my pick is the Book of Azrael. It follows Diana and Liam, who it's basically they fall in love as they're trying to look for the Book of Azrael, and there's obviously a lot more going on. There's a lot of political sides to this world, and it's basically it takes place on, what's the name of the place? Anuna? I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. But it's basically, it takes place on this world where the gods used to be on a different world that was right above that their world, and the gods world fell apart and fell to their world and on Anuna. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but basically it's just about that, and it falls because the realms are sealed, and so other creatures can't go back to their home worlds, and the gods are stuck on the new Anuna, where it used to be mostly inhabited, I believe, by humans. But this is my favorite book so far in 2024 because it's just so amazing. There's 2 other books that have been released in this series. I don't believe it's complete, so I believe they'll be coming out with more, or Amber V. Nicole will be coming out with more. But this one it really blew me away when I read it. So it's my favorite so far this year, 5 stars, and I highly recommend. The next question for this book tag, I don't actually have the book for it, like the physical book, so I'll just put a picture here somewhere around here, but it's the best sequel of 2024 so far, and the best sequel that I have read so far in 2024 is actually by Runix, and it's a sequel to The Predator. It's called The Emperor, and it follows Dante and Aurora, I think is her name, and it's just a beautiful love story where he just does everything for her. It's a mafia romance that well, somewhat mafia romance. It has darker themes. Definitely check your trigger warnings for any of the books mentioned in this video, because I do tend to like a lot of darker romances. However, this one was just so beautifully done with the way that they help each other, and the way that they are there for each other, and just the entire healing of them as people and in their relationship. And it was just my favorite in that series. I have read that series all the way through for what is out so far, but that one's my favorite, and I love Dante, so definitely recommend reading, and definitely give it a try if you're into darker romances, and if you enjoy Runix's writing in The Predator. Okay, the next question in the book tag is about a new release that you haven't read yet but you want to. And so My pick for this is Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver, and this book is the follow-up to Butcher and Blackbird, and it follows Lachlan and Lark, and it's a marriage of convenience story, and based off of the back, it's enemies to lovers. I'm very excited to read it. I read the first one on audiobook, and so I may read this one on audiobook as well. But it just released in June, I believe. So I'm very excited. I ran right to Barnes & Noble to get it, and I cannot wait to read it. The next question that we have for this book tag is the most anticipated release for the second half of 2024. So obviously I do not have that book yet, but I will put a picture of it here. It is Throne of Secrets by Carrie Maniscalco. I'm very excited to see what she has in store for this next installment of her series. Ever since I read Kingdom of the Wicked, I fell in love with her story, with her universe, with everything having to do with you know, her her characters. So I think Throne of Secrets, if I remember correctly, is House Envy, and so I could be wrong on that. I can't remember exactly. I just know I liked I loved the other books of hers, and so I'm very excited for that one, and it's probably my most anticipated of the year in general. All right, the next question that we have in this book tag is for the biggest surprise. I took that as the biggest surprise book that you really enjoyed and didn't really expect to. And so my pick for this one is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. If you haven't heard of this book, I don't really know how, if you are involved in the book community online, because I feel that majority of people have read it or have heard of it. But regardless, it follows Georgie and her alien Vectel. Basically, she gets abducted and ends up on this foreign ice planet, and she has to kind of adapt to being there, and she's trying to find her way back home, but she meets Vectel, and Vectel kind of tries to help her with everything, you know, because she's scared that the people who, or the aliens that abducted her are coming back for her and everyone that she was with. But I started this series, I don't want to say as a joke, but I was very curious because I've heard so much about it that I wanted to kind of see what it was all about and what people, you know, were saying, and I wanted to be in on all the memes and everything, so and all like the little inside jokes. So I started it not expecting, you know, to really fall in love with the series, with the world, and with Georgie and all of the girls' stories, but I did. And so I think I've read 4, I believe, of the series so far. So lots to go, but I am very excited. The next question for the book tag is favorite new author, and although I have read amazing new authors who have debuted their novels, their books this year, you can also choose a new author to you. So a new author to me this year that I have chosen is Harley LaRue. She wrote The Loser's Duet, which is a Why Choose story. It follows Jessica, Manson, Vincent, Lucas, and Jason. And it's basically just a found family love, and they all just love each other so much, and you can really feel that through her writing. And I just fell in love with the way that she writes her characters and the depth that she gives them. And so she's definitely my favorite new author that I've read so far this year, even though she's not actually new, she's just new to me. All right, the next question in the book tag is newest fictional crush, and I do not have this book as well. I read it on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll put the picture here, but it's Vicious Prince is the book that I have chosen by Rena Kent, and it follows Ronan and Teal, and it's a marriage of convenience, and Ronan is just, I just love him so much. Everything about him, the thoughts that he has, the way that he is with Teal, everything is just beautiful, honestly. This series, the Royal Elite series, starts off with kind of a bully romance in the first book. So when I started the series, I kind of expected a bully romance to kind of follow, like that theme to kind of follow throughout all of the books. But even though it kind of does, it's not as like brutal as some other bully romances that I have in the past read. So that this entire series is just amazing. But Ronan just has my heart, especially from the Rena Kent universe so far. Eventually I will read Legacy of Gods, which I know many people love, and I'm very excited to see if I find a new fictional crush further on in Rena Kent universe. The next book question in this book tag is a book that made you cry. I don't have a physical copy of this book yet, because I read it as an ARC, actually. So I'll put a picture here again, as I've been doing. And it is actually Stay With Me by Shea Ruby. It's a story that follows Theo and Bailey, and Theo is a hockey player who gets injured and ends up in the hospital and is being taken care of by Bailey, who is a nurse. And this whole story just, it truly, the love was like kind of, it was not sad. The love wasn't sad. It was just like some of the aspects of their love that they had to kind of work through were just sad and made me cry. There is specifically one scene, if you have read the book, then you will know if I tell you it's the scene that takes place by the lake. That one really, that's when I really started to break down and sob, because I really felt for Bailey, and I just wanted her to really come out on the other end and have her happy ending. And you know, I wanted that for both of them, of course. So I'm just, yeah, that's the one that made me cry. Even though I don't actually cry very easily in books, but that's the one that came to mind when I read this question. The next question is a book that made you happy. And for my pick for this one is Butcher and Blackbird. And let me explain. I know that this book has darker themes in it and is about two serial killers, because it follows Sloane and Rowan, and they have like this competition to find who they kill are like bad people, so it doesn't seem as like morally wrong, if killing could ever feel morally right. But it's fiction again. So, but the reason that this book made me happy is because it gave such rom-com vibes, and I truly just couldn't stop laughing at most of it. Even though there was darker themes, Bryn Weaver does a really good job at making you laugh as well throughout the story. And so this is my pick for a book that makes you happy. All right, the next question in the book tag is the most beautiful book you bought so far this year. For this one, I did buy it because let me explain. So I am a Fairy Loot subscriber, and so I get a lot of beautiful books. And if you follow me on Bookstagram, you can kind of see every Friday I like to post a different one to my page, just to kind of show off Fairy Loot and all of their hard work, because I just love Fairy Loot. So my pick for this book tag, for this book question, is The City of Stardust, which was a Fairy Loot edition. But it's just, honestly, it's just so beautiful. If you look at all of the sprayed edges, like, I love them. And I believe, oh yep, I have character art in here. They have beautiful character art on the end pages, and then like the naked cover is even beautiful. They have a reverse dust jacket. Let me see what else on the other side. Yep, more character art. I don't believe, yeah, the naked cover doesn't go all the way around, but that's okay. They do have like the reverse dust jacket. But it's one of the most beautiful Fairy Loot editions I think I've seen. And I don't know if it's just because of my love of this like stars and like that kind of you know, element, but it's so beautiful and I cannot wait to read it. It's actually part of a TBR that I have not released yet, but you can look forward to that coming. So yeah, this is my pick for most beautiful, what was it, most beautiful book that I bought so far. The final question for this book tag is a book I like to read this year. And the book I chose for this one, I don't have the physical copy, so again, like always, I'll put the picture here. But it is God of War by Rena Kent, because ever since I started the Rena Kent universe, my whole goal was to get to the Legacy of Gods series, because I've read or I've heard so much about that series and how good it is that I want to really read it, but I just don't want to read it without reading the rest of the universe, because I want to be able to, I don't know, I'm very much like that, where if it follows an order, I'm gonna read it in that order, especially if the author is suggesting to read it in a certain order. So which I don't actually know if Rena Kent has done that, but regardless, I'm very excited, and I kind of hope I can get through the Rena Kent universe this year, to then get to God of War, because that is the latest book that she has released in her universe and for the Legacy of Gods, and it's also the final book for Legacy of Gods. So I'm excited for that as well, because then that means the series is complete and I don't have to wait. And everyone knows, like, that's like the worst feeling ever, or at least if you read series, I feel like you know that that's one of the worst feelings ever, is having to wait for the next book. So very excited to kind of do that, and hopefully that'll be good. So that is my mid-year book tag. Again, I'll leave the links below for the content creators who I originally saw, or who originally created this book tag. Definitely leave in the comments if you want to share your answers. I'll also leave the questions in the description as well. But yeah, that's my mid-year book tag, and these are all the books that I physically own from my book tag. I recommend all the ones that I have read, and if you want to see my book reviews and my wrap-ups and anything else, definitely take a follow over on my Instagram as well. I would greatly appreciate that, and I will see you next time.